Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ. Those of you who are watching this video, uh, I hope that you watch this video to the end. You can do what you want. Everybody, I know most people just pop in and see this again, as always. Well, he's talking about Jesus, this or that or whatever. And that's usually people who don't care and want to listen, and that's fine. Everybody's got a busy schedule. Hold on a second. But this is a special message to me. And this is why I encourage you, stick with it to the end. I once heard a preacher, and I knew this was going to act up again. I once heard a preacher say this. He said, sometimes it's difficult to preach a message such as the one I'm about to preach. And a lot of times at first I didn't get it. But being a minister myself, being a pastor, let me tell you something, my friends. There are times that when we have to preach a message, it's not easy. At times, sometimes it's very difficult to preach a message because we know that in this message, some may not take to it well. Some may become offended by some of the things you got to say. And sometimes when we preach messages like this, many people get mad at us. And and I do have to say this much, there's so many people in churches today treat their pastors like they're some kind of piece of rag or paper. And when they don't like what the pastor says or do or tries to do or makes a mistake or comment, most people in church, what they do with their pastor, they take them like a piece of rag and they throw them away. And I can't understand that. I can't understand, we are supposed to be disciples of Jesus Christ. But then why are we not acting like it? And yet when the pastor has a hard time or he says some things or he teaches something, sometimes like Jesus, they want to crucify him. It's no wonder that I see so many churches out there today are without pastors. Many of them resign. not because what's going on in church or they're being forced to resign or the committee doesn't like them. Tell, well, look, either you're going to resign or we're going to vote you out. Many of them don't resign because of that. Many resigns because the way they are treated. Because they go through such difficult times. They labor for you, they pray for you, they yearn for you, but yet most times they are brutally attacked and even their family is attacked. And you wonder why so many of them today struggle. You why so many that's even in the pulpit now struggle. And even though those of us is not in the pulpit no more, we struggle. And this is why I said this is a very hard message to preach. Because, folks like me, I'm struggling in faith. I'm having a difficult time. It's not easy enduring this right now. And that's why I titled this message. So if you're watching this, please listen. I hope that it may help. I hope that it may encourage. If not, if you don't want to watch it, then that's okay. Maybe your faith is really strong, and I admire you for that. And that's why I titled this message, Struggling in Faith. So the question now comes to mind, what do you do when the thing that's supposed to be your greatest source of comfort is what's keeping you up at night? Yes, I'm talking about doubting God. And when that happens, it seems to throw everything off balance. When you're struggling with faith, it can feel like your life's purpose, your friendships, your family relationships, understanding of the world are all under threat. So allowing yourself to ask the hard questions about what you believe, and listen to this carefully, asking yourself the hard questions about what you believe, in fact, my dear friends, takes a lot of courage for you to do so. It takes courage for you to question what you believe. And the reason I say this because sometimes we have a bad habit of shutting down conversations about doubt with friends, or even when you talk to your pastor, or even when you talk to people in the church. And when this happens to you, you feel like you must have a negative faith crisis that you got to face on your own. That's how we feel sometimes when we are struggling with faith. When we talk to these people, and they kind of look at us and they roll their eyes, or, they think, well, you're doing something wrong, this or that, or they act like they don't want to have nothing to do with you. Then you feel like that you got to navigate your struggle and your faith on your own at that point. And that's a scary and frustrating and a heavy place to be. I know, because I've been there and I've dealt with it a lot myself. So, my friends, today in this message, my story can be your story. And if you're honest, you at times deals with doubt or uncertainty in your faith, and at times in your life, you do. If you're honest with yourself, for what it's worth, for what it's worth, I hope you're not alone in this battle. I really do. And some people will not admit this. They will not admit they are struggling in faith. But it's normal, my friends, to have questions about God. It's normal. See, some want to push themselves down. Some wants to disconnect from people. Some, when they try going talking to their minister or a church elder or a friend, whatever, and their friend kind of shuns them off a little bit, well, you know what? They feel like it's not normal to ask those questions, and they feel like, something's wrong with them. So what they do, they shut themselves down. But what I'm trying to help us understand in this message is normal to have questions about God. And sometimes taking faith and the questions it poses seriously means struggling with faith. And sometimes it can cause you to have doubts. But as long as there is a kernel of belief left in you, you, my friends, have not lost your faith. If there's just a small kernel left in you, you, my friends, has not lost your faith. I would say this, in fact, questioning your faith. That's right. Listen to this. Questioning your faith is often how you grow it. And please listen to this. Faith was never meant to be static or unchanging. That's right. It was never meant to be static. It was never meant to be unchanging. Questioning your faith means you are taking seriously the task of pursuing truth and figuring out what it means to live according to it. And believe it or not, my friends, this is what discipleship is all about. And look, you don't have to wrestle with your doubts on your own. I know sometimes we feel this way. And the reason I say this is because I myself have learned from my mistakes in doing so. Struggling with faith can be very hard. And having the thoughts in your mind like, I just don't know anymore. Or it seems like nothing is happening. Or it seems like you're alone. Or God has gone completely silent on you. And look, it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel that way. And if you're real and if you're honest with yourself, you have gone through the struggle yourself. And this is normal for us to experience things and experience battles of the mind during the times of struggling with our faith. You know, I look at this passage here in Romans 5:8 tells us, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh. But those who live according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit, or other words, what it's saying, the mind, my friends, listen to this. The mind is the leader or forerunner of all actions. So if you started asking those hard questions about your faith, you already started to seek the answers about your faith in God. And pretending you hadn't thought of the questions that you were afraid to answer, it's like trying to be a person you're not. It's not going to work. Quit pretending to be a person you're not. Be honest and ask the hard questions. Who knows? It might be a good thing because what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, you might find out something might be wrong. That's all. That's all. You might just find out something might be wrong. That could be the worst thing that could be happening, questioning your faith. And the honest question here would be this: wouldn't you rather discover the truth rather to believe a lie because you were too afraid to see beyond it? Friends, be honest with God about that. Be honest with yourself. It's okay not to be okay when you're struggling with your faith. Folks, it's okay to be frustrated with yourself for not having everything figured out. You're allowed to push God for the clarity you desperately find. It's okay to push him to ask. Someone said, well, you shouldn't ask God those kind of questions. You shouldn't push God to ask those questions. You shouldn't really try to, really, be agitated with him. Why not? Why not? Isn't what talking to God supposed to be all about? Letting him know how we feel, what we're dealing with, what we're struggling with? Everybody says, well, Jim, if you're having problems with your faith, if you're struggling in your faith, well, then just pray. Well, folks, let me tell you something right now. That's just a simple, generic answer for when someone does not have a clue of what you're dealing with. Yes, we should go pray. But don't go pray to pray to pray. How about you go pray, but have a conversation with God and let him know, God, I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time. Don't know what to do no more. I feel like I can't hear nothing or sense nothing. Where are you? See, it's okay to be frustrated, folks, when you do not have everything figured out. Like I said, you allow the push for clarity. You see, God can handle your honesty. The reason why I'm telling you this is true. He can handle your honesty. You want to know why? Well, how about going to his word and read the entire book of Job? That's right. Read the entire book of Job. You want to see someone who was struggling? He was. Now, keep in mind in all of this, there is a catch. You probably won't get answers that satisfy you if you are only willing to pursue the quick fix. So what? That's right, because if you're trying to find the quick fix, you won't get the answers that will satisfy you. Be open, be honest, seek his will, and let God know, Father, I'm struggling in my beliefs. I'm struggling in the midst of all this. I don't know what else to do. I need directions from you, clarity, instructions, anything. But if you're pursuing a quick fix in your conversations with God, you're probably not going to get the answer that's going to satisfy you. So if you're like me, what do you do when you're having these struggles in your faith? And I've been pondering on that question for the last several weeks. So far, I had not found an answer. But I read this on the internet and some good advice in this. And I kind of figured, me talking on this message, struggling with faith, nobody was going to show up. I already expected that. Nobody wants to hear this kind of a topic. But this is something I read on the internet, what do you do when you're struggling with your faith? I forgot the author's name. I wish I could have written it down. I couldn't find a link again, but it was good what this person said. He said this: nobody has faith completely figured out. Why expect something of yourself that not even the most famous theologians and preachers have managed to do themselves? So I like that. Thankfully, my friends, experiencing and extending the love of Jesus Christ does not require you to know everything about him. See, my friends, it's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay to take time with the questions you have. It's okay to admit you're having these struggles in your faith. You need to understand the faith journey rarely follows a linear path. If somebody can say that their faith, their walking faith, followed a linear path, I want to talk to that person. You see, the fact that you're struggling with your faith right now, let me repeat this. The fact that you are struggling with your faith right now doesn't mean you be struggling forever. Many people who feel far from God will find their way back. And even the people who seem closest to God doesn't feel close to him all the time. If you continue in your faith, there will be times you are at peace with God again. And there will be times when you feel close to God again. And yes, there also will be times when you find yourself in turmoil again. Sometimes the people who feel most strongly about their faith are the ones who have fought hardest with it. Also, they are the ones who still deals with it and still have these struggles that I have. When seeking someone to talk to, most likely they will try to put you back on path. Many will speak words from the Bible. And to me, most times, I think this is wrong when dealing with a person who's having such struggles. You might not agree with that, but you know what? All the times I have when talk to someone with struggle, the very first thing that they start to do, they start quoting Bible scriptures. Oh, Jim, you just got to get back into the Lord. Oh, Jim, you just got to do it. Oh, Jim, you just got to do that. Like, really? What I need is a friend, someone to talk to, someone who will listen, someone who will say, you know what? I struggle also. I know what it's like. And while I may not have the answer for you, all I can do is be your friend and be with you and help you in this process. Sometimes that might be all it takes. But me, what I would say to them if someone was talking to me, hey, Pastor Jim, I'm struggling in my faith. And I would say to them this, you know what? It's normal. It's okay to struggle with your faith in God. Nothing wrong with it. And again, while on the other hand, you may not agree with me. Or even say, well, Jim, that sounds counterproductive. Let me say this. Lean in for a second. Come on. Lean in for a second and really hear me. Are you ready? Yes, my friends, doubts leads to questions. Questions leads to exploration. And exploration leads to a greater understanding. To get where you are today to a stronger, more mature faith, you must make room for those questions. And often the reason we don't ask questions is that we are afraid of what it would do to our faith. See, most people are afraid to question their faith because they are afraid what it would do to their faith. Yes, my brothers and sisters, those of you who's watching this and made it to this point, I am struggling. Yes, I am real. The fact of the matter is, some people who I confided to has made me feel like I've been shunned by them when telling them that I am struggling and hurting. In fact, they end up treating me like I'm some sort of leopard or I have leprosies. So I went to them to confide in them, to talk to them. After that, they act like they want nothing to do with me, even church people. And the truth of the matter is, I'm being honest here. This is a hard message to preach to you. Struggling is real. Struggling is hard. And struggling is not easy. All I can hope for now is me telling myself that God is patient with me and has not left me alone, and that He is compassionate towards me and even us when we are even in the midst of our struggles. So, what do I say at this point? How do I close out this message to you? Well, my friends, the fact remains that many people, if they are honest with themselves, will say they are struggling with faith during their walk with God. Let's be real. Let's be honest. So we must remember this: faith is not easy. Whoever said it would be? Our faith should enkindle a relationship with God. But as I have learned in all my years following Him, doesn't mean it will always be gratifying and easy as we would like it to be. It means there will be struggles. There will be times when it is hard to love, even at times when God feels distant. So, what do we do now in times of our struggles? What do we do? When writing this, I was telling you right now, I was thinking, I don't know if I can preach this to people online because now they already shun me as it is. They already treat me like I'm some sort of diseased person. Now I'm going to be live and let people know, hey, that I have struggles. They're probably really going to say, I don't want to deal with that person no more. And that's fine. But what I can tell you right now, what can we do in our times of struggles? My answer is this: I don't have the answers for this struggle. I don't have the answers for the struggles I'm dealing with now. All I can try to do is live for today and hope the next day comes and wait and see what happens. My answer for you, I hope and pray you find what you're looking for and what you're seeking. And I hope if you have watched it up to this point now, my message in this video helps you who are struggling in some way to hang on to your faith in God. I hope this helps you to hang on to your faith in God. To quote a line from a book, I'm kind of reading a little bit right now. It said this, and I like it. I think we can all agree to it. It's easy to quit, but it takes faith to go through. It's easy to quit, but it takes faith to go through. Amen. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you watch it. I hope that it helps. Yes, the enemy is dealing with me right now. He's laughing in my head while preaching this. Look, Jim, see, nobody showed up. Why do you bother with these videos? Why do you bother trying to teach Bible lessons? Why do you bother with all this? Nobody's here. Who cares? Just like I just quoted, it's easy to quit, but it takes faith to go through it. Love you. God bless y'all. Have a blessed day and a blessed night. May you find what you seek.